Good morning, ma'am. Please unmute.
Yeah.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. You are not audible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Am I audible, sir, now?
Yes, madam.
Okay, sir. Good morning to all of you, sir.
Little low voice, but is okay. Madam,
Okay,
actually,
little closer to the device, sir. Give me 2 minutes time.
yeah, little closer to mic. Yeah, madam, come little closer to mic. So, dear participants, now we are having next speaker. She is a senior faculty member. She is Professor G. Bhuvaneswara Lakshmi. She is from Department of Education and Educational Technology, Hyderabad University. She is a senior faculty member in her university. And today she will be talking on multicultural classrooms and inclusive pedagogies. Important topic she is going to deliver. So please concentrate on her and then put some questions for Madam from her. Madam,
Yes, sir.
right now I am in the meet, came out to start this session. So after this, I'll go to the meeting and will it be fine, ma'am?
Just a minute, sir. Please, 1 minute.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Morning, sir. Good morning to all of you. Shall I start, sir? Hello? Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, audible, but little low voice, madam.
Voice, sir? Okay.
Box, if it is.
Yeah, now, sir? Hello?
Yeah, now is okay, madam. Better.
Okay, let me see.
Audible, yes, madam. Yes, messages are coming. Okay, madam. You may start, madam.
Okay. Good morning to all of you, friends. Actually, I'm very happy to associate with you all on this particular occasion. We are all belong to one family, that is teachers' family. And coming to our own job, teaching. This is before coming to the topic which is announced. This is multicultural classroom and inclusive pedagogy. But just we'll have a glance about the issues. Of course, everybody knows it. What is education and what are the methods of teaching and other things. But as a teacher education field, I have been working. Just let me share my views about education and other things for a while.
Madam, your PPT is not visible to us.
Not visible, sir? Okay.
Your PPT is not visible, ma'am.
Okay, usually we go for
Ma'am,
Yes.
Stop sharing and restart. I think that will solve the problem.
Yes.
Madam, share again. I think that will serve the purpose.
No, sir, actually, what I, before PPTs I have opened, that's the reason I wanted to come back. Usually we go for WebEx and Google Meet, and this is just, sir. Meanwhile, I will explain. Uh, Education is a different, it's a very wider aspect of education. Is it visible, sir, now?
Now visible, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Actually, education, this is a opinion.
Yes, now visible, ma'am.
It's prevailed education starts from LKG, where the child joins in the mainstream system, and most probably what we say the PhD or DLET. These are the different degrees what we receive from the education institutions. But basically, what do you mean by education, and what do you mean by educated person, and who is an educated, who is an uneducated person? And there is a lot of difference between a literate and educated person. The same way, what is teaching, and who is a teacher, and who is a learner? These things, just let me share my views about this. Coming to the definition of education, this is education is the deliberate and systematic influence exerted by mature person upon the immature through instruction, discipline, and harmonious development of physical, intellectual, aesthetic, social, spiritual powers of human being according to individual and social needs, directed towards the union of the educand and his creator as a final end. Means education is nothing but the experience. Education, it doesn't mean that getting degrees from the universities and getting degrees from education institutions like schools, colleges, universities, etc. But it is that is only a narrow concept of education. But coming to the wider concept of education, every experience is an education. Education is a deliberate and systematic influence of a mature person upon immature, wherever it may be, whatever it may be, and whatever the things learned by a person from a mature person. Through these are the instructions, disciplines, and harmonious development. Through education, this harmonious development of different horizons of the individual, that is physical, intellectual, aesthetic, social, and spiritual powers of human being. These things are according to the individual and social needs. While we provide education, we have to keep it in mind the individual needs and also the social needs. These are directed to the union of the educand and his creator as the final end. This is the definition given by Jan Riden. And also, when we see the Rig Veda, education, the actual self-actualization and self-realization of the individual is education. So if you observe different definitions, we can come to the very wider aspect of education. So wherever we say, when we say the person received a PhD degree, immediately we say highly educated person. When the person is not entered in the formal educational institutions, then we say he has no education. Do you think that the person who is not having any qualifications, can you say not educated and also illiterate person? In such a case, if there is an example, we know this Akbar the king, the great, Akbar the Great. He many movies of especially Jodha Akbar movie showed and gave information about Akbar's literary issues. He is not in a position to read and he is not in a position to write anything. But still, can we say he's an uneducated person? He ruled the great India from north to south. His empire has covered almost all India, leaving some parts, isn't it? So in such a case, this education means what we see, we have to have the wider aspect of education and every aspect, every experience. When a 5-year child or 3-year child tries to make the 2-year child or 1-year child how to take food, how to use how to take the tumbler and other things. So these things also come under education only. So in such a way, this is Hitopadesa explained the concept of education. Is the education imparts intellectual culture. Education imparts intellectual culture. This intellectual culture explains this intellectual culture says something about how to get the things. The intellectual culture secures capacity and stability. Once the individual secures the capacity and stability, then he can do many things. The education must provide intellectual culture to the individual. This intellectual culture enables us, enable the individual to acquire capacity. Once the person is capable of doing things, then automatically he can do. So this he can secure wealth. See, nowadays, without having any education, people like Mason and the preparation of foods and preparation of different things, even in clothing, painting, and also embroideries, these people are not educated persons, but still they are earning so much better than many other persons. So they have the capacity and stability. So with this capacity and stability enable us to secure wealth. So wealth so secured enable us to perform dharma, which is in turn, which gives happiness. So that is that point we have to keep it in mind. And while coming to the sources of education, this is as Patanjali said in Yoga Sutras. Nowadays, yoga is given so much importance in everybody's life. Physically, mentally, and also psychologically also. So this yoga has been promoted by our present Prime Minister, Narendra Modi also, and many Western countries, they are looking for this yoga and other practices towards Eastern countries, especially towards India. So this Patanjali said what are the sources? Means teachers, they study different courses. So this is a part of their education, and they learn from the society. while they move with the others, they learn from the society. The society makes us to learn many things. And also the programs organized by the institutions. And not only that, while we share, while we teach, teachers definitely learn many things from their students, especially in the initial stages. So the sources of education is not only the books, that there are different sources. And coming to the what is teaching, we have been working in the field of teaching, and the teaching is not unidirectional, it is bidirectional. This teaching, difficult to define the teaching, but we can say, if you say this teaching is making them others to learn, that is incomplete. Incomplete in the sense the teacher teaches. If the students are not in a position to learn, can we call it as a teaching? No, this is when we compare with selling the goods. When the salesperson sells anything, somebody must buy it. Then only he feels that it is sold. Otherwise, there is no selling unless there is buying. But in our teaching learning process, this is a question mark. How far the students are able to learn, whether the learning process is going on or not. This is there we have to think of it. Then come to this, why to teach? We teach many things to achieve certain objectives. This is what National Educational Policy and also the UGC has been saying, outcome-based education, OBE. This OBE must be based on objectives. Before we think of the outcome, we have to think of what is our objective. Well, based on the objectives, we get the products. So, is it clear? My voice and other things? Hello? 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 Any response? Okay, then what to teach? The teaching, the syllabus and other things. When to teach, that depends upon the time schedule we go for teaching, and who to whom, that depends upon the class, what we teach, which class we are going to teach, and how to teach. This is more important aspect, and we are much more concerned about how to teach. Other things are common, to whom we have to teach, when to teach, and all these things are scheduled. But whereas how to teach, it differs from teacher to teacher, from teacher to teacher. And this is different methods of teaching, strategies of teaching, or approaches of teaching. We use innovative approaches, we use practical experiences, we use experiential learning, or differently. This it depends upon the interest of the teacher, abilities of the teacher, depends upon the need of the student. These practices are changing. Then come to the next, education is not a luxury, it is a right. We know, as per Right to Education Act, education is a right to each individual. In 1892, there was a case with regard to providing education. Then that case is called Mohini Jain's case. In this Mohini Jain's case, Supreme Court verdicted that education is not a commodity to sell in the market. It is a fundamental right of the student, and state has the responsibility to provide education. Then come to this, each individual has to, as an individual, each individual has to perform these 4 obligations: Devaruna, Pitruna, and Rishirana, and Manavruna. Devaruna is the way what we do, what we worship God, and we do different rituals and other things. Then come to the Pitruna. This is actually taking care of parents and at their old age, and giving respect and providing everything for them to feel convenient. That's one thing, but basically continuing of the generation is one of the renas of Pitru. This is yes. Hello. So this is Pitruna. Nowadays, whether to get married or not marry, this is a view of the individual. It is the choice of the person. But basically, this is not a choice, but it is a natural phenomena, and it must continue to give the birth to the next generation. Then Rishikesh, this is nothing but where we see dissemination of knowledge from different people, knowledgeable people, scholars, rishis, etc. This is to be disseminated. And the fourth one is Manavruna, where we say NAC and other organizations giving so much importance to this Manavruna service to the society. What we say corporate responsibility, corporate social responsibility, or individual responsibility, or organization's responsibility to serve to the community. That is thing. Then come to this coming to the multicultural classroom and other things. This is actually, while we say national educational policy also says about multicultural classroom. And when you take this national educational policy is divided into 4 parts. And the first part, in the 6th item, inclusive equity and inclusive education at school level. And again, if you come to the 14th part, that is equitable and inclusive education at higher education level. This is inclusive education. Inclusive means it includes cultural issues also. So, and again, if you talk something about the other thing, Millennium Developmental Goals and Sustainable Developmental Goals, those focus on the quality education at global level. This quality education is possible only if you take care of all the people, and everybody must come must include in the mainstream. So based on Millennium Developmental Goals and Sustainable Developmental Goals and National Educational Policy, the components of school education and higher education also spoke something about inclusive education and cultural issues and multicultural aspects. So while that's the reason I have taken up this topic, multicultural classrooms and inclusive education. When you see, this is what we are going, I think, is it visible, sir? Yes. PPT is visible? Hello? Is my PPT is visible, sir? So about culture, cultural education, and multicultural classroom inclusion and the importance of inclusion, pedagogy and inclusive pedagogy, etc. All these are the different things which we are going to share with you. Then our Honorable President of India, former President of India, Abdul Kalam, he quoted this: when learning is purposeful, creativity blossoms. And when the creativity blossoms, thinking emanates. And when thinking emanates, knowledge is fully lit. So if we want to lit the knowledge, and if you want to if you want to flourish our own economy, this learning must be purposeful and creative. This is possible only when everything is to be included. So in this context, what do you mean by this culture and multicultural education, etc.? When you say the culture, generally, what is the knowledge, beliefs, art, morals, law, custom, and any other thing. Otherwise, what we say, our own values, our own literature, our own food, our own way of taking the food, clothing, beliefs, behaviors, everything comes under culture. So when this culture changes from one place to another, one region to another, then we say these are the multicultural issues. So, but nowadays, this multicultural concept has been increasing. We have been seeing our classrooms becoming increasingly multicultural. And this leads to new challenges to the teachers. Teachers must be ready to face different types of challenges to provide quality education and to make them to understand different issues and awareness about many things. So if you want to manage, if you want to teach in multicultural classroom, teachers require certain specialized learning techniques and also practices and effective teaching methods. Teachers must use to accomplish the goals. And at the same time, if you want to improve the achievement, academic achievement, then also teachers' concern towards multicultural is very much needed. So in this case, multicultural education aims approaching the education system with the awareness and inclusive of all aspects, inclusive of all aspects of the learner, rather than if it is monoculture or if it is the same group of children are there in the class, then usually it is a passive and one way learning. But when there are children, they vary with their cultural background, they vary with their parental background, and if they vary their home environment, and they vary about social environment, then automatically it is a brainstorming, different experiences, different stories, and we can provide wider aspects of learning. So instead of having this monocultural classes, multicultural classrooms are always benefit to the individual and also to the society and to the overall education system and to overall nation-wide also. So before coming to this, what is culture? Culture actually, this is called is the French word. From there, this culture, the term is originated. Etymologically, it is a French word. Then come to the anthropological perspective. Culture is a design for living and basis for human life. See, there is a culture, then automatically based on this culture, this what we say, mankind progress. See, in India, we have been observing the oldest cultures, Indus Valley civilization, or if you take this at a global level, Sumerian civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, where we say the culture and civilization are not similar, but they are more connectivity. They are more association with there. So wherever we say civilized, they have cultural background, rich cultural background, rich cultural heritage. So with this rich cultural heritage, they are going ahead with the civilization. So while you say the culture, it can be defined by Taylor. The culture is a complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, art, morals, law, language, custom, and any other capabilities acquired by man as a member of the society. This is the definition given by Taylor. And otherwise, even James Stradley, he said culture is the acquired knowledge people use to interpret their experiences and generate behavior. They reflect in their behavior. So it is all the experiences. These experiences of the individual brings the culture. It contributes the culture. it contributes to culture. So in that way, Spencer, he said 2008, a set of attitudes, values, beliefs, behaviors shared by a group of people, but different for each individual, different from each individual and communicated from one generation to the next. So this is culture. Culture means everything. What we say, the language, what we say, the food, what type of food, what are the way of taking food, way of dressing, way of inviting the persons, way of accepting the persons, way of celebrating our own functions, rituals, etc. Everything comes under culture. So when you come to the nature of the culture or characteristics of the culture, culture is a social inheritance. It is not an individual's issue, it is a social inheritance. And when we say it is a universal. Culture is not limited to one country or one place or one town or one thing. But these cultures are different, one community. These cultures are different from community to community, from place to place, and from country to country, from geographical area to other geographical area, and religion to religion, and also they differ in the small groups also, family to family sometimes. If you take in a small unit in the community or the society or the family, even this culture changes from one family to the other. And also we used to say, if the persons are not mingling the society and not giving respect to other person, immediately what we say, these persons, they don't have any culture. So and sometimes so harshly, so harsh we say cultureless people and are brutally cultureless, something like that. So this is culture is a social inheritance and a universal and conservative and transitive also. The culture is conservative and transitive from one generation to the another and learned. This culture is learned by the people in the society from one person to the another and from parents to the children and teachers to the students and also from elders to the other people and friends from friend circle. So it is learned and it is a cumulative. The culture has been changing. It is not constant one. No way it is constant. It has been changing time to time. So it is a cumulative. Added one thing. Sometimes we give up certain things and we accommodate new things. So this is what we say cumulative and progressive also. The progressive culture, what is needed is invited and what is not needed, is these things are discarded or gave up certain things. So progressive and it is a symbolic. It has a symbol of that particular place. So when you say the Indians, Indian people have, of course, India, this is our country, multicultural. This is the best example of example to at global level. India has a multicultural, multiracial, multi-economical, multi-social backgrounds. So this is, but still we are one. That is what we say, unity in diversity. So we have diversity, diversified cultural issues and also integrated one and dynamic. Everything it changes from time to time. Then diffuse. It is and gratifying and it is structured. It has the structured forms. It is not completely disorganized, unstructured one. Culture is a structured one, and culture fulfills human needs. Actually, basically, when you think of this culture, the culture arises to satisfy the human needs or to fulfill the human needs. This culture we have been acquiring, we have been accepting, we have been accommodating the culture. Then culture is inculcated. this culture, it can be inculcated, like what we say, the knowledge, beliefs, and other things. The culture also can be inculcated. In case of values, what we say, it can be caught but not taught. But through teaching also, we can make them to learn certain cultural issues. So people use cultural creativity. Even in the culture, the creativity also we can find. Cultural universals, cultural specialties and alternatives, all these are the different things which are included in the nature of the culture. Nature of the culture. Coming to our own education and culture, what are these? In what way the education is related to cultural aspect, and how the culture is associated with education. So once upon a time, the person who has culture, then these persons are honored as an educated person also. Means like culture and civilization, there where we find greater civilization, those are honored as a highly educated person. And this, through education, we can change the culture. We can what we inculcate culture. So through our educational programs, through our, say in case of Bloom's taxonomy, you might have heard about three domains: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domain. The culture can be inculcated through knowledge, through content, and also what we say, knowledge and skills related to knowledge is nothing but cognitive domain, and affective domain is nothing but values, attitudes, and opinions, adjustments, and values, etc. All these come under affective domain. And the psychomotor domain, where skills, different skills, observation skills, and also practical aspects, all these come under the psychomotor domain. So by conducting different activities, we can inculcate these cultural issues among the students, which come under psychomotor domain, while making them to experience and thinking of their own values, it comes under a affective domain. And by giving information, content, rather knowledge, that comes under a cognitive domain. Through we can inculcate this culture through education by all means, like cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. Then the role of education, this is in the curriculum. These cultural aspects are to be inculcated, are to be included in the curriculum from elementary level to the higher levels also. And also how to preserve the culture. The preservation of the culture. Nowadays, we see in Western countries like US and European countries like UK, etc., they wanted to have our own culture. They are very much interested to practice our own cultures, like even doing yoga practices, and also going to the temples, chanting Omkaram, and way of dressing and marriage celebrations, all these things. They show so much enthusiasm and interest to learn these things. So that means we have to preserve our own culture, and this after preservation, transmission, certain things in the cultural aspects we have been completely neglecting. We are not convey our own culture to our own children in different occasions. So even nowadays, parents are not, I can say, the spending time with the family members and spending time with the children is comparatively reduced like anything. So in this particular scenario, these cultural issues cannot be transmitted from parents to from grandparents to parents, parents to children. There we have to be very careful. And this culture is to be transmitted from one place to another place and one generation to another generation, from one continent to the another continent, etc. And coming to our own cultural heritage, India has a rich cultural heritage, and it is our own. It is very much significant to India. We have the cultural issues. We have our own culture. Even before 5000 BC, 3000 BC, we have been observing these cultural issues. And this is to be promoted by through education, by the education institutions, and also teachers' role in this is much more by conducting different cultural issues, cultural programs, etc. This is that is the relation between culture and education. Then come to the concept of multicultural classroom, multiculturalism. Here, this is any form that incorporates histories, texts, values, beliefs, and perspectives of people from different cultural backgrounds. Suppose in a class, if we have people of different cultural backgrounds, what the teacher has to do. So in this context, we have to think of cultural plurality and cultural lag and acculturation and enculturation. These things also we have to get clarification about this. Then multicultural classroom, what is the importance? When the multicultural classroom, the teacher boost up the self-esteem of the students, boost up the self-esteem and teaches about acceptance of diversity. We have to accept the diversity. That is much more important in this multicultural classroom. We cannot expect the way what we do the things. But nowadays, it is increasingly increasingly we have been seeing these multicultural classrooms in our day-to-day different places also. If it is a rural place, that's one thing. If it is an urban area, and if it is in a global level, this multicultural classroom issues are much more. Then if you see, even in India, central universities, even like Mizoram Central University or Central University of Hyderabad, wherever we see, we observe the students from different cultural backgrounds. From Bihar culture is different from West Bengal, and West Bengal culture is different from northeastern states, and also from south states. South states culture is different, and so these we find all the different state people, not only from different states, even from abroad also. In central universities, there is a provision of taking NRI students. So these NRI students maybe from USA, maybe from UK, or maybe from Philippines, maybe from Netherlands, etc. Their own cultures are different. So we have to accept the cultural diversity, and we have to help the students in this aspect, cultural aspect, and recognize the similarities. What are the similarities of different cultures, and what are the differences? Once we identify the similarities and we identify the differences, then we can handle the situations, and we can provide better place to learn different things. So in this context, we have to encourage this cooperative social skills also. These cooperative social skills, that they have to have different skills. And also in multicultural classroom, these we have to prepare and provide these multicultural books and materials. Present this number of multicultural books comparatively less, the need is much more. So these multicultural books and materials are to be improved. and also appreciation of cultural and racial and ethnic differences. These differences are to be appreciated. Sometimes if it is monocultural classroom, there are 25 students or 30 students in a classroom, whether it is higher education or whether it is secondary education or whether it is elementary education. These, if there are 20 students or 23 students, they have same culture, and the other 2 or 3 children they came from different culture. Generally, these 2 children who came from different culture, they used to face many issues. So there are this particular context, we have to provide, we have to support them, we have to provide confidence to them, and we have to make them to learn the culture which is prevailed in that particular region, and also other students in the classroom, they have to learn other culture, their own cultural issues also. So acknowledge the cultural differences. Then come to discover the diversity within the classroom. This how to find out the diversity. While the teachers, they know their own students. Knowing in the sense, students are not calling the student by name. Knowing the student by name, it's only knowing the name. But knowing the child from their cultural backgrounds, from their family background, from their home environmental background, all these things must be known by the teacher. Then we can say the teacher know that particular student, and also accept and embrace all students. This is acceptance by the teachers, and acceptance not only by the teacher. Sometimes this teacher accepts, but the other children, other students in the class, they may not accept. They are not willing to accept these people. So teacher must make them to convince them to accept and to provide a room for them for their comfortability. Those who came from different culture, this class must provide a convenience and comfortability to learn in the teaching learning process. So that is about what we say the multicultural classrooms. Then come to the what do you mean by inclusion? Inclusion is actually what we know. If anything, suppose there are 25 students in the class. One more student joined, then his name is also included. The total list will become 26. So this is the way, even these things, but this is also same in the inclusive classrooms. Inclusion is a process of addressing and responding the diversified needs of the learners. We have to accept them. We have to include them. So the concept of inclusive education is not new, but comparatively new. Concept of inclusive education, while we think of 2-3 decades back, this even at global level, UNESCO also promotes these different institutions for them, like socially disabled or what we say socially backward children, like social welfare schools and BC welfare schools, and this what we say special needs, having a problem with dumb and deaf, and also other mentally retarded and other children, other health problems, physically challenged, mentally challenged. So these every group used to have their own institutions, educational institutions. Now the concept is changed. Inclusion. Everybody must come into the mainstream. Everybody, whether the child is suffering from physically challenged child or mentally challenged child or dumb or any other person are socially challenged or other children economically challenged, or whatever it may be, everybody must come to the mainstream. That is nothing but inclusive education. So inclusion is a process of, so then we have to address the needs. The needs are different from physically challenged, from mentally challenged, from socially challenged, from economically challenged. So based on the needs, the teacher has to address these, address the needs of the learners. So the learners needs different. So the teacher must be in a position to address them and address the needs of all the types of learners. So that is, and reduce the exclusion. Inclusion, degree of inclusion is to be promoted and reduce the exclusion. And then come to this process, the involves changes and modifications in the content, approaches, structures, strategies, etc. If you want to teach the same concept to the mentally retarded children or to the socially different cultural backgrounds, also the methods must be changed, and the intellectual levels also we have to identify. So there we have to follow different approaches, different structures, different strategies, etc. So, and with a common vision. Again, this vision is very important. Maybe the experiences are different, maybe the approaches are different, but the main vision must be the same. Like even education, our NEP Vision 2020. But it must provide, it must make India into a globally superpower. Without deviating from our own cultural issues. So this is what we say. This process involves changes and modifications in the content, approaches, structures, etc., and to address to address the system with a common vision, when all the children within appropriate age range and conviction that it is the responsibility of the regular school system to educate all children. This is the comment of remark of UNESCO 2005. Then conception of education where everybody has a place and where everyone is participating. This is every child, whether the child having one culture or other culture, or having high IQ, or high socioeconomic status, or maybe they differ in their social backgrounds, but every child has every right. Right to Education Act 2009 focuses on this particular aspect. So everything, we have to take care of all these things. So this inclusion must provide an opportunity to all the children to learn and to participate in different activities. Then what is the need and importance of inclusive education? And also inclusive pedagogy, inclusive education and inclusive pedagogy. Inclusive education. So while you see this pedagogy, while you see, just a minute. So inclusive pedagogy means actually pedagogy. What do you mean by pedagogy? Pedagogy is an approach. Actually, this is pedagogy is a word where slave used to escort the child to school. Actually, that is the etymological meaning. But here, when you say the pedagogy, This is a what we say teaching, science of teaching. Pedagogy is nothing but science of teaching, and this teaching is for the children. Pedo means child. So agogy means teaching. So pedagogy is nothing but teaching of science at for children or at teenage. So this is inclusive pedagogy is an approach that aims to make learning is accessible and welcoming all the students as much as possible. So this is an approach where we have to provide access to all the students. And it can be said that the student-centered approach. Inclusive pedagogy is nothing but a student-centered pedagogy where faculty create and invite and engage in learning environment. Students are to be engaged in learning environment, and all the students vary with their backgrounds and vary in their learning styles also, and vary in their physical and cognitive abilities. So, but this approach, inclusive pedagogy, must address all these things. All these children having different learning styles, different abilities physically, cognitively, and also psychologically, etc. And this inclusive pedagogy improves learning outcomes when faculty attended student differences. So automatically the outcomes of learning will be improved or enhanced when the faculty attend to the students' differences. The differences are dissimilarities of the cultural issues of the students are attended by the faculty, then automatically learning outcomes will be improved. That is one thing. And take deliberate steps. So for this for improvement of learning outcomes, deliberately certain steps have to be taken taken by the teachers. So we have to welcome them and we have to support these students. Then come to the next. This is what is pedagogy, science of teaching. Pedagogy is child, and agogy means to lead, provide, lead the child. So in this using pedagogy, we are making them to move ahead. The child is going to be move ahead. So the method of how teachers teach in theory and practice. This is very important aspect. What type of methods are used by the teacher to address these teenage people at multicultural classroom, or even at a higher education level. When you say the andragogy or andragogy is nothing but teaching of science at adult stage, at higher education stage, or adults. And pedagogy is nothing but self-learning, learning on their own, pedagogy. Self-learning, the process of self-learning and the science of self-learning is nothing but pedagogy, and the science of teaching for the adults is andragogy. And if we want to teach at higher education level, we have to go for andragogy. And but what we say generally, pedagogy, this is when methods and other things, it was the concept it was the opinion of many teachers that the methods and everything must be needed to teach at school level, but at higher levels, this training in teaching was not so important. It was the concept. Nowadays, it is changed, and even UNESCO and also the UCC and other apex bodies giving so much importance to training for teachers, even at higher education level, and also at professional education level, like. The teachers, those who want to teach at medicine, means if they want to practice medicine, then they don't require any training. But if those doctors wanted to teach in medical colleges, they need some training. Like that engineering teachers. There is an institution, and you might have heard about the National Institute of Technical Teachers Association, etc. Technical Teacher Training Program. This is head office is in Madras, and most of the states have branches like UGC branches. They have their own different branches also. This organization, they provide training for technical teachers. Technical means like engineering college teachers, they used to get training and they provide different courses also. So this is which is related to pedagogy and other things, study of teaching approaches, and this is important aspect. One must know about their own how to teach and what to teach, how to teach, when to teach. All these things are to be taken care. So inclusive pedagogy is an approach that aims to make learning as accessible and welcoming to all the students. Wait. So what are the principles of inclusive education? There are certain things, keep it in mind while the teachers are going to handle this multicultural classroom and inclusive pedagogy. If for multicultural classroom, have to handle, the teacher must be flexible. The flexibility, equitable, and collaborative, and personalization of teaching, and embracing diversity. All these are the different principles we have to keep it in mind while we use inclusive pedagogy. Then, if you see, there are different things like cooperative learning, peer tutoring, multisensory teaching, etc. So this is a multicultural classroom. These cooperative learning, when they learn cooperatively, again there is a word, collaboration and cooperation. These two things. Also, we come across while we learn from innovative teaching practices, cooperatively and collaboratively. Collaborative, one is face-to-face, another one is online cooperation. Sometimes they do together in online. Otherwise, if they do face-to-face, they sit together and they work together and they do things. So that is, one is cooperative and the another one is collaborative learning, and also the peer tutoring. Peer tutoring, 3 decades back, when we were there in schools and colleges, of course, even now, the one person used to be nominated as class representative or class leader, etc. Even at a higher education level also, he used to take care of small assignments given by the teacher. So here, when you say the teaching, some students, they want to learn from their from their age group friends rather than from the teachers. So, means these age group people, they know their others' limitations and they can express their own feelings, express their own doubts, feelings, and also they can share easily than with the teacher. So in such a case, the peer tutoring is very much important. And another thing, multisensory teaching. Teaching, this is actually concept, psychological concept, rather philosophical concept given by, started with Maria Montessori. I don't know how many of you know about Maria Montessori. Basically, she is a doctor, and very interesting thing. Let me share it. The Royal Society of British, they used to provide admission only for male people in those days. In those days, she is an Italian lady, and she wanted to join in medical course in British Council, Royal Society of British. So deliberately, she didn't mention her gender anywhere. And after getting admission card, she entered the campus. Then everybody was astonished, and she was present. Then she showed her admission card. Then this having so much reputation, they cannot took it back. They cannot take it back their admission, and that's the way she's completed her medical course. Then she was appointed as a small children with many mentally disordered children. There she used to take care of them, and she used to provide education. Then it made her to promote education through different senses. She adopted the different strategies to provide education by using all the sensations. That is multi-sensorial sensorial education. So then she became a psychologist, philosopher, psychologist, and famous educationist also. So this started sensorial education was so much promoted by Montessori and also other philosophers. Then we see, so teachers, whenever they wanted to handle multicultural classrooms, teacher must use this multisensorial teaching. Then what are the benefits and what is the teacher in this cultural classroom? This is one way, but we say the teacher must be very keen. The teacher must be very keen to provide the content and other things. Also, teacher must identify the way the learning influences and barriers of learning are identified by the teacher, and teacher must provide different things to make it and then engage. This is the positive interactions, the positive mindset. Teacher must create positive interactions with the students. If they have any inconveniences, rather hesitation or something is observed by the teacher, teacher must support them in a different manner, not directly pointing out their limitations and also giving punishments. The positive interactions are to be given by the teacher to the students, and also fosters acceptance and tolerance. The tolerance, teacher must include the tolerance. This is usually the teachers like the students those who are highly intelligent and fast learners. But whereas in case of this multicultural classroom and also the inclusive classroom, the teacher must take care of many other things. Teacher must be so much tolerant, and degree of tolerance must be required so much, and also teaches multiple perspectives, and the perception of the teacher must be different from one situation to the another situation, and also encourages critical thinking. Teacher must encourage the thinking process. Generally, this is what is going on in the present day scenario. While we teach, they learn the things, they memorize the things, and they try to acquire the content. But the thinking process is to be promoted by the teacher. Then what we say that critical thinking, rational thinking. This is given so much importance under the name of life skills education. You might have heard about life skills education in many. So these life skills, critical thinking and also creative thinking and communication skills, all these come under life skills education. So teacher must enhance the opportunities to critical thinking. Then, wait. So use appropriate modes of addressing. While addressing the children, addressing the class, these this addressing also must be different from one group to the another group. So this what is the right mode of addressing? That is to be decided by the teacher when the situation arises. And one-to-one interaction, this is very important aspect. But every teacher feels it's very difficult to have one-to-one interaction. But in a class of 40, 50, or even 60, I know you all belong to post-graduation and or at least graduation teachers. The number of students is a good number, but we can identify among the whole group is at least single digit, not following the our own lectures, not responding it properly. And in such a situation, generally we go for finding the fault. The students are careless, they don't want to learn, or they are highly reckless, careless, etc. But there is behind all these behaviors of the individual, the student limitation is not able to understand properly, not having the capacity to learn, not having the level of content to receive. So in these situations, after identifying, the one-to-one interaction is very much needed. Then come to during the discussions and refer the student by name. This is very important aspect. See, even at higher education level, at elementary level, once the student is called by his name by the teacher, then they feel so happy. Immediately they feel comfortable. Not only comfortable, they feel great. Teacher knows my name. Teacher knows me. Teacher, she identified me. So not only knowing his own name, but at the same time knowing the child's abilities and their own interests, their own uniqueness. Each child has his own uniqueness. Definitely there is a uniqueness. If we just focus the uniqueness of the child, automatically they are after us. They wanted to learn it. This is actually we have been doing practically. That's the reason I have been emphasizing again and again. And pronunciation of names. Pronunciation of names is also very important. And whatever the manner we can, that's not good to call the student by name. Say suppose sometimes Patel in Gujarat, the same name Patel. Patel is different from Patel, or even Lakshmi, even my name. This is not Lakshmi, SH. So this pronunciation is also very important. Of course, a little attention is required by the teacher to call by the name with the right pronunciation. And the cultural awareness, and we have to know the culture from the students, and we have to give respect to their own cultures. Then language, inclusive language that avoids ethnic-centric tones. This is where we say the tone and language is very much important. Only the tone is assertive tone is required, but at the same time, it should not be harsh. The tone must be smooth, but it must be assertive. And appropriate modes of addressing, this we have already discussed. Refer the students by name and eliminate classroom incivilities. Use inclusive language, and we have to eliminate the classroom incivilities and establish explicit ground rules for appropriate classroom conduct, and also avoid ignoring or neglecting the needs of the individuals. We have to, we cannot avoid their own needs, and also encourage to draw the diverse data sources, evidences for their arguments. If they, when they differ in the cultural background, when they say this is different, in such a case, we have to get their sources or evidences for their own argument. And again, if you see inside the classroom, we have to make the students to participate in all the activities and also make them to accomplishment, the academic accomplishments. Of course, academic is important. We cannot neglect these academic issues. So teacher must give importance to academic accomplishments, and also teacher must provide training in problem solving ability. This is problem solving is very important aspect for whole education. See, when somebody asked me what is for education, the main goal of education or objective of education to solve our own issues which we encounter in our day-to-day life. That is much more important rather than earning money. And once we are able to resolve our own issues, our own problems, we can live peacefully. We can live peacefully. So the training is to be given to the students to solve their own problems. And also the relationship between the teacher and student, that's more important. Teacher and student, teacher must maintain interactional, accessible relation to the student. And this coming to the combating conflict, these conflicts must be to combat with the things. Then come to outside the classroom, how the teacher has to deal the outside the classroom. Then this is actually where the language and their disabilities and their religion and their own socio-economic status and all these things have to be taken care, and teacher must take care of it. It can be known to others also, the way of taking food, and also the racial differences, ethnical differences, and family values, structures, etc. All these things. Say, we know culture in the sense, say in one religion, only getting married one time, that is a religious issue. In another religion, the male person may marry 2 or 3 female. Maybe in another religion, a female may get married 2 or 3 male members. So all these are also come under cultural issues. This is androgamy, and also the other things. So these things are also to be taken. Coming to this, the teacher must be empathetic. So encourage and open and inclusive classrooms discussions by prompt students to ask questions and by using open-ended statements, and ask students how they prefer to learn, and ask where is this possibility, and examine how you might adapt your teaching learning activities accordingly, and promote turn taking when discussing controversial issues. So sometimes how to handle these controversial issues are also must be known by the teacher. Otherwise, it's very difficult. The teacher will be put in trouble. So when we see the inside the classroom participation, academic accomplishment, problem solving, and all these are important. And outside the classroom, language, disabilities, religion, etc., food and race and ethnicity, etc. Then come to the conclusion. See, this is classrooms are becoming increasingly multicultural. So this leads to new challenges to the teachers. Nowadays, the teacher's role is not only to teach. Teacher must be an social organizer, and also teacher must be guide, friend, philosopher, mentor, and many roles. Many roles are to be done by the teacher. It's not only teaching in the present day scenario. So the role of the teacher is increasingly day by day, and challenges are also much more. And these not only challenges are not in terms of number, but in terms of varieties of challenges. And also traditionally, the multicultural classroom, this is like if unfamiliar situations, how to navigate unfamiliar situation. So in this, added teachers must take added responsibility to lead the students in the unfamiliar situations, unfamiliar territories. See, Indians have been moving all over the globe day by day. Day by day. So when they move to US, this is one thing, and when they move to Zambia, another thing, and then when they move to UK, another thing. So they are facing many challenges. The same way, when other country people they come to our classes, even our responsibility is also increasing, and we have to give support to them and make them to be more convenient. So teachers must provide that type of specialized learning techniques. So this is when we compare this traditional and present are very different. So we can conclude in the present day scenario, a teacher with utmost empathy, high sensitivity towards culture, and broad-minded attitude, and intense integrity, and living the life of a person whom the learners can consider as a role model. So all these things are to be taken, and the role of the teacher in the multicultural classroom is to be a facilitator rather than a taskmaster, and has to bridge a connectivity among different cultural issues, make a connectivity, make a connection between the cultural diversity through his own using multiple techniques of teaching, and much more, taking into the consideration of the commitment towards the teacher and also passion towards the teacher. So these things make the teachers to handle this multicultural classroom and by inclusive pedagogy. So this is about what I would like to share. Hello? Hello? Hello, sir? Professor? Hello.
Hello, ma'am. I think there are no questions in the chat box.
Yeah, I opened chat box. I'm receiving only thank you, thank you, thank you. No questions.
Yeah, thank you only. So I think there are no questions.
Is it purpose is solved or not? So simply saying thank you.
Yeah, you can just conclude.
At least express them, participants among you, just share your observations or your views for 1 minute. Can anyone? How you are making use of this lecture in your classrooms? Any one of you? Yes, there is a question. In some area, people live in small village and they have a primary school of their own medium. They have to learn medium of their own language. What is the process of teaching? Yeah, sometimes when the teacher is posted in the tribal areas, the teachers are also given training to learn tribal language sometimes. Or otherwise, these tribal language translated into, it means in English, their own language. Means words are written in English. Tribal language words are written in English language so that they use to use it. Get it, Dr. Siddiqui? Is it clear? So in the villages, the tribal language teacher, while process is going on, when the time is going on, the teachers also use it to learn this tribal language after 6 months, after 1 year, etc. To make the children to learn. That's happening.
Okay, madam, we don't have any other question in the chat box.
Okay.
I just came out of the meeting. So, because there is no question, should we close the session?
Yes, sir. From my side, I'm thankful to you, to Mizoram University Vice Chancellor and Director HRDC and the coordinator, and especially you, Professor B. Singh. And I'm thankful to the participants for their patient listening. I thank you one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. From on behalf of all the participants and HRDC, I would like to say thanks to you for sparing your time. I couldn't attend this session because of the meetings, but we are recording this session. I will go through this recording later on, and I will share the recording after the function. Whole program is over.
Yes,
So thank you, ma'am, for sparing your time, and in future also we'll request you for some other sessions.
Okay, sir, definitely.
Thank
Ask
you,
them to send their comments, sir, participants.
Oh, okay. So participants,
It is useful to us to focus other points if they send any feedback.
okay, sure. So if their feedbacks, whatever is there, we'll share with you.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Thank
Shall
you,
I-
ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
Thank you. So, dear participants, now we'll close this session here, and let's take half an